It is Wednesday and we're live on Facebook. We're live on SHALLZ, doing this more than once a week because we have a lot to talk about. Giving everybody a few moments to get signed on here. Facebook, which I'm looking at this way, the interviewee, the person I'm going to have on, will be live on Instagram in just a few minutes. So if you want to see her, I'll flip the camera around so you can see her, but you should be able to hear her voice. Give me a second. I tried to do this do not call, and for some reason, let me do it with this phone as well. Oh, the joys of technology. Hi, Michael from Oceanside, and Rafi and Rose and Salah. I reached out to all of you over the past few days and weeks, hoping to find more and more people that would come forward and talk to us about coronavirus, people who have tested positive for it, and people who were willing to share their story. I was able to connect with a few people, some of which were not comfortable coming on social media to talk about it. But I did find somebody, and she is a beauty. We had her on the Fox 5 Morning News earlier this morning. So if you want to see her face at this time, I am going to bring Valerie Joy Wilson, otherwise known as the Trusted Travel Girl. I'm going to give a second for Instagram to pop up her face. Ah! Well, hello, girly girl. How are you?
Good, how are you? You look so beautiful.
Oh, girl, look, I have been up since 3 o'clock in the morning. I don't sleep. With the 4 kids at home, it's just,
Stop.
it's this.
Oh, man, I don't know how you do it.
I don't know
really
either.
don't.
I'm going to flip you around because I want to show Facebook. So this is Valerie Facebook. If you want to see her while she's talking, you'll have to hop onto my Instagram account. But if you're on Facebook and you want to ask her questions, you can do it here as well. I'm putting her right here next to the microphone, so you'll be able to hear her voice. And we're going to talk to her. Thank you.
Your lighting looks so good. By the way, I had my lights set up this morning when we chatted, and then I was like, oh, it'll be fine now. But
You look good.
like
No, I just have one of those round ring lights. I don't even know how all this got started, that I'm doing all these things. Now I'm live almost every day, like as if I'm not on live TV enough. Let me tell everybody, actually, Valerie, I'm going to just tell everybody she was on our morning show. So thank you for doing that earlier today. We had a great interview with her. And I asked her, would you come on to social and talk to my friends here as well? So why don't you tell everybody your story and your connection to COVID-19 and the coronavirus.
Okay. Let's see. I started to get some symptoms on March 7th.
Mm-hmm.
And I travel full time. So the crazy thing is that I wasn't really traveling. So I felt like it was safe at the beginning of March into February. Weren't really, nobody was being too crazy, but I was still grocery shopping with latex gloves on. I was the crazy lady. And people were giving me weird looks, but I still got it somehow.
So you tested positive.
I did. I tested positive on the test I took on Friday the 13th, and I got it back on the 16th, which was a Monday. So all the symptoms, all the crazy stuff, but I'll let you ask the questions and get into it if you
want. And I'm going to by the way, this is for you friends, to ask questions too. If you have a question, this is why we do all of this stuff. Valerie, you're 34.
Yes.
And we have talked about this. I think it took a second for a lot of people to kind of get what was happening, right? Because we saw it in China, and then it started floating on the other side of the world. I know I have a lot of friends on here who are from Iran. We saw them going through it, Italy go through it. But I feel like here in the U.S., we were kind of like, what? We're good.
I know. And, as somebody that travels the whole world, I know how connected we are. And so I of this coming, and it's kind of ironic that I got it because all of my friends were like, "You're crazy, like you're overreacting, like we don't have to worry about the chances of you getting it are so slim," and here we are. So I think it's really important to just, obviously now everybody's taking it seriously, but it's really important to express the gravity of the situation. And we've got some people asking exactly what the symptoms were. So it started off, I started to get this weird wavy feeling while I was just watching TV on like a Saturday night, and it just kept running through my body, and I was like, this is so weird, like what is this? Like I was sitting, like I paused the TV and was like, how am I ever going to explain this to the doctor?
Like, what do you mean, like wavy feel? Like you just felt like warm, or
short circuiting, and that's the best way that I can describe it. Was like an electrical feeling. So the first doctor I went to was my cardiologist, and I'm thinking there's something going on there. So he did an EKG, he did a ultrasound. He's like, you're perfectly fine. So then later that day, I had an orange juice, and it tasted terrible. It was just like nothing, and I didn't think anything of it. I just thought it was bad. The next morning, I realized that night, I realized I had completely lost my sense of taste and smell. So the next day, which was a Tuesday, I went to the doctor, and he's like, yeah, you definitely have a virus, and at this point, I barely had the sniffles. And when I say barely, I mean, if I was in high school, I used to always look for a reason to stay home. I wouldn't have even bothered asking my mom. That's kind of how I explained it to him. I really was not that sick. And I said, do you think I have coronavirus? And he said, well, your lungs sound really good, so no. And this is like before anybody was really getting it here. Mm-hmm. So he didn't have a good reason to really think that the likelihood was high. He said, otherwise I would have tested you for it. So I was like, ding, ding, ding. He's got the test. He's got the test.
Yeah. Which has been difficult, yeah, for a lot of people.
Impossible. So I thought that was really interesting. And I went back home and was like, okay, get it out of my head. Like, stop being paranoid. You know, you're crazy. and went about my business. And then I started to develop a cough, and the cough got stronger. And then I started to get headaches. I never get headaches when I'm sick. I get them when I'm stressed. I wasn't working because there wasn't any work going on at this point for most of us, in the travel industry at least. So I'm like, I'm not stressed. I'm getting migraines. I have a dry cough. This isn't good. Cough got stronger. I drove to the doctor on Friday morning. So the first time I saw him was Tuesday. I drove to see him at Friday the 13th. I got there right when he opened. And I said, you know, this cough is getting stronger. And then I broke down into tears and I started sobbing. And I was like, I'm really scared. They put me in a back room and closed the door. They never closed the door at this doctor's office. I was like, uh-oh. And he comes in with N95 mask on and the gloves and like just looked like, you know, didn't look like my doctor. And it was like kind of scary. And he comes in and it was just like a strep test. He swabbed my throat. It wasn't, I know a lot of people are doing a nose swab. Mm-hmm. Mine was a throat swab. And put it in this big old test tube thing. Like I saw the whole thing, and it just like, the whole process was just so scary, and he couldn't kick me out fast enough. Like, I was like, but what about, and he's like, go, we'll call you, get out. Like, they just didn't want me there, obviously. And so I got in the car, and I just broke down because it was already so isolating. You know, the people that we look to for answers and to care for us when we're sick, like, can't even be around us. And so that was the start of what felt like a long, weird waiting period for the whole weekend. So that was Friday at 9 a.m., and I got the test back at 6 p.m. the following Monday. So it was a good 3.5 days, and I missed the call, and I got the voicemail. And it was, Valerie, you need to call me back immediately. It's very important. And that's when I, knew. And so I called him back, and I just said, I have it, don't I? And he was like, yeah, you do. And it was the night before that I had read a small study, a sample size of 9 people, and 4 of the 9 people had lost their sense of taste and smell. And so I kind of was prepared the night before because I thought that was a little peculiar, and I had lost my sense of taste and smell completely, and that's never happened to me in my life. So I had a good feeling it was coming, unfortunately. But yeah, it was just a shock, and it was really just, I think the scariest part is the doctor said, I'm like, well, what am I supposed to do? And he says, well, take some zinc and go to the hospital if you can't breathe. You know, it's kind of like, go to the hospital if you can't breathe and good luck. You know, he cared more than that, but there wasn't any more information. It was like, cross your fingers and hope for the best.
I mean,
and I live alone. Well, thank God I live alone, right? In some aspects, because I didn't get anybody else sick in my household. But it's like, I'm alone with this thing. And it's like, I want my mom and like all the things, like you like revert to all those feelings of like, how am I going to take care of myself? Like nobody's around. And it really wasn't that bad physically, the cough sucked, but mentally that was the hardest part.
When you compare this now that you are you cleared now? You're out. Okay.
I like have a letter from the health department. I feel like it's like my little license.
Wow, you got to like frame that. That's your badge, which is going to bring me to another question in just a little bit. But back to your symptoms. Did you get the fever? And
oh yeah, that's a great question. Because I always forget to mention this, and actually I believe I forgot to mention it this morning. I had a fever of 99 degrees and I say about because I had to measure it with like Celsius and do the conversion.
Oh, okay.
And it was about 99 degrees for an hour, and I got nothing of it. And the only reason I even took my temperature was because I can always tell when I have a fever. I'm sure some of you out there, you know what I'm talking about. You get that cold kind of feeling, and it's not cold, and you feel like a cold. So I started to feel like that. I was like, oh, is it cold in here? And I looked at my thermostat. It wasn't that cold. I was like, I might have a fever. It was gone within an hour. And I went to bed and, woke up feeling better. So I didn't think that much of it.
Wait, so the whole time, what was you? I think today on the morning news, you said it was a 16-day period from the beginning to the end for you. The whole time, the highest fever you had was 99?
And I run high fevers. I've always run high fevers. Like, I'll run 102 easily. No problem.
And you had no fever besides 99 for all this stuff that they keep saying about
an hour.
So you're primarily that's huge, Valerie, because I think people as put aside the healthcare. By the way, I'm going to try to go live a little later tonight because I went to Rady Children's Hospital after the morning news and I sat down with Dr. Bradley. He's the head of the infectious disease at the hospital. And he is my go-to guy because I want real information. I don't want social media information. I don't want information from somebody calling me and say, hey, guess what? You need to put the blow dryer in your mouth and turn it on high. And it right? Right? I know, but like that's the kind of stuff. So I go to people that I know have real information, and I cannot tell you the amount of stuff that he told me what they know about the coronavirus right now. So, this is part of what yeah, and it's really good stuff. I mean, it's really good news for parents, especially with fairly healthy children. And I'm going to go live today and talk about that a little later. But when you watch the news, and I work for the news, so I know, you could get off the show after a few hours and you think the world is ending.
Totally. And so that was here's my treatment for you. If you feel like you have coronavirus, turn off the news. That's my advice. That's like doctor's orders, basically. I started feeling, and actually what's crazy is I saw, I think most people know Chris Cuomo, the news anchor has it. And I saw his little thing last night where he said, my chest is tight and I don't know, I'm paraphrasing here, I don't know if it's the virus or if it's like anxiety. And I was just like, oh my God, that's exactly how I felt. And the whole time I couldn't breathe and like my chest felt tight and I didn't want to bother my parents. I'd call one of my girlfriends and she's like, turn off the news.
Mm-hmm.
She knows I consume the 24-hour news cycle. She's like, turn off the news and I'll call you in an hour. If in an hour you still can't breathe, we'll take, like, you're going to go to the hospital. And because I'd call and I'd be like, look, I want to take my, like, feel like whatever I'm feeling seriously, because if I do have to go to the hospital, I'd like to go sooner than later and nip it in the bud, and the sooner they can see that I need something, be there.
Right.
But at the same time, I don't want to go if I'm just having anxiety. So as soon as I turn off the news, I realized I felt so much better, and I felt better every morning when I woke up, and I realized, like, the accumulation of people texting me the news and things like that would weigh on me throughout the day, and that's when I feel like the world was ending, and I was going, like, I felt like I was like,
right.
Oh my God, I'm gonna die. And I think that was a huge part of getting through was.
I think what I'm learning from you, and I've learned from the people, because I do know a handful of people that I'm personally, like, friends with that did test positive for COVID. It seems like everybody's kind of having their own reaction to it. Some people have high fever. Some people have a cough. Some people have, like, nothing.
And that's so important, because everybody wants to know, well, what were your symptoms? And I would want to know, the same thing. But at the end of the day, anything could be it. And anything you have could not be it.
Right. And which brings us to the point, which when you listen to doctors like Dr. Bradley and Dr. Fauci and all these people, it makes sense why they talk about this whole social distancing thing, right? Because it may not affected you the way that it would affect somebody else. Exactly. So this whole notion of keeping people apart is that, right? And especially with the little kids, because we know that Dr. Bradley was saying that they spread sicknesses like wildfire. Like, right? They're just like filled with, right. So the whole point of the social distancing is being able to yes, probably 80%. And I think you said this today, and I'm going to ask you again, your message is that most of us, you'll get it and we'll be fine. But we're seeing so much on the news and in social media of all these clips of people hooked up to breathing machines that it's scary, because you're just like wondering, is this going to happen to me?
Exactly. And sadly, that is a reality, and it could be your reality. So stay home. And that's part of my message. And the other part of my message is I have underlying health conditions. I could be considered at risk depending on who you talk to. There's no straight answer for that. So I made it. I was okay. I barely had it. So I want that to comfort people that are scared. But at the same time, so it's kind of like a contradiction. I want people to feel comforted by that, but I do not want that to take away from the gravity of the situation. And that doesn't mean, I feel healthy, my friend feels healthy, we haven't seen anybody in a week or two except for the Postmates guy, like I can just go on over and hang out. No, that's like what is perpetuating the issue. So it's for me, I was really lucky. I got a text message this morning, one of my best girlfriends, I didn't even know her grandmother had it. I don't even know if they knew. Her grandmother passed away this morning from it. So it's like we have to protect the people in our lives, or if we don't have those people in our lives anymore, that we don't, maybe our crew is young, you have to think about the people in the lives of the people you're affecting. Yeah. So, they could take it home to someone.
Yes.
And that could destroy their life. So we really have to think outside of ourselves. And just in human nature, especially in this day and age, that's hard for some people to do.
It is really hard. I think I just saw on one of the news channels a mother of 5, 42 years old, who was a survivor of stage 4 breast cancer. She got it, and she said goodbye to her kids over a walkie-talkie, and she passed away. So, and tomorrow here live, one of my friends that I've known for years, he's lost 5 people that he knew to this. That were exposed to this virus. So I think when it comes down to it is that, yes, the majority of us will be okay, but we're still concerned about, even if it's that 20% or that 30%, that if you carried it and these asymptomatic people, right,
Exactly.
They pass that to somebody whose body can't handle it, you know?
Exactly. And you just don't know. This thing is, it's invisible. We just don't know where it's spreading, how, you know what I mean? It's like, you can't be safe enough.
I'm going to share later tonight what Dr. Bradley said about how you get this. I'm going to share how you get this. Okay. This is somebody who works closely with CDC and all the county. He's been a pediatrician for 40 years, and it'll be very interesting.
That's exciting.
But I can tell you, you're not going to get it from walking out and breathing the air outside.
Interesting. That's really interesting. I live near Cedars-Sinai, so it was really interesting to me because I did go I think today was like my third walk outside ever since like February.
Yeah.
And I live near like where all the nurses and everybody walks around. First of all, I was like, thank you guys. But also it was like, don't get too close. Like, we don't know if I can get the, you know,
Yeah.
I was like making sure to go way out of the way.
Stay away from people. That's all I'll tell you.
Like, I'm doing 12 feet, like, especially the nurses coming out of there.
Yeah, you will be fine if you stay away from keep your distance from people, but this isn't one of those things that you walk outside and it's like it's going to blow in your face.
Attach on you.
Yeah, and it's not, as Dr. Bradley said, and he kind of chuckled. He goes, it's not going to jump off your can of beans at the grocery store and jump in and crawl up in your nose and go there. That's not how the way this virus works.
That's really interesting that you say that about the groceries, because I know a girlfriend of mine and myself, and I don't know how many other people have like actually had this conversation, but we're like washing our groceries.
Okay, you know what I asked Dr. Bradley that. Again, this is all stuff that I got on tape and I'm going to cut it up. He looked at me and he smiled. He goes, but aren't you supposed to wash your groceries? Like,
well, I mean, we're washing like the jar of pasta.
Yeah, and as you should, but he'll tell you, okay, I meant like fruits. Yeah, I mean, not that part, but look, there's some things that we need to be cautious of. We know that the virus is living on surfaces, and he is convinced that the transmission of this is coming from that.
That's very.
It's coming from
a totally different take than you'll hear from some other people, which I love because I truly believe that too.
Yeah, and even if it's the droplets, and I can go through some of his notes, and I have it all on tape, and he made himself available to, he does this every so often, and he works, he's just amazing, Valerie. I mean, he's just, okay, back to your symptoms. Did you get your smell and your taste back?
Okay, yes and no. It came back like within 7 days, 10 days, but I sat down, my girlfriends from high school, we did like what everybody else is doing right now. We did like one of those 5 people on a FaceTime catch up, and I was like, I'm gonna celebrate with a glass of wine. Everybody was gonna have a drink, and I poured myself a glass of one of my favorite white wines. It did not taste good.
Really?
Like parts of it I could tell. I could taste the roundness of the flavors. I could just taste like sour.
How long ago was your 16th day?
Week and some change ago.
Okay, so it's been like a week or so. Have you
taken day like 25?
Have you tasted anything like this morning that you're kind of like, okay, it's starting to?
Like I can taste things, but like not fully. And certain things I can't taste. Like so, like little cookies and stuff. I can tell that they're a little sweet, but barely. And like sour, I can taste really well. But just I can't taste the full. I'm not getting the full flavor. It's like very muted, and it feels like there's a part in the middle of the flavor that I miss, and I just get, you know, like when you taste a food, there's like the aftertaste,
yes,
and like the first taste. It's like I'll get the first and the last, but I'm not actually getting the meat of the flavor, if that makes any sense.
Some people, Valerie, are asking about your tightness of chest. Look, I'll tell you honestly, too, everybody has so much anxiety right now. I think the other night I'm like, I can't breathe, Bruce, I can't breathe.
Same, and I keep feeling like if I go outside and somebody gets really close to me, my cough comes back. Oh. And I'm like, okay, that is in my head.
Yeah.
So I didn't have tightness in my chest as much as I had I felt like I couldn't breathe that well. Mm-hmm. So I was was breathing, and it didn't feel like it was getting, like I was filling my lungs. It felt like short little sips. And my mom just signed on. That's so
Oh,
funny.
hi, Valerie's mom.
So I was like, and then I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't take a full breath. And that was like when I do the, okay, let me turn off the news and see how I breathe when I watched Tiger King. so I'd say like, it's like, again, it's different for everybody.
When you compare this to sicknesses that you've had before, because sometimes when I listen to people's stories, I'm like, how many of us get sick, especially like people who have kids around? Like we get the flu, we get the kids have sicknesses, and that's not scary for us, right? We kind of just expect it. And when you get the influenza, which I had, last year, I had to check myself in the ER. I was pregnant at that time. But at that time, it wasn't the kind of fear that people have with this new virus.
Right.
So how do you compare this to being like normal sick?
Great question. This was a walk in the park physically. Mentally, it was one of the hardest things I've ever had to go through in my entire life. And that includes being like bedridden with Lyme disease for 4 years. This was like, I thought it was going to kill me. And just not knowing being in that limbo was so hard. But physically, it was, the coughs sucked. And I didn't know what to do with it because there was nothing in there to get out. But it was not that bad. I had a really bad flu that I picked up in Norway last Christmas. And that was like, I thought I was dying. It was like the worst thing ever. And this was like a cold. And that's the thing, though. It's like, you hate to say it because you just want to hammer home the point to the other people, like, yes, don't be afraid. It's like a cold for some people, but not for everybody.
Yeah.
So it's like you don't know, and that's the scary part, is that we don't know. I hate downgrading it to saying that, but I don't want to over exaggerate it at the same time. It felt like a cold with a terrible cough.
But that was your experience. That was your experience.
Exactly, that was my experience. But it's like, man, it feels. I feel guilty saying that because I just don't want anybody to ever take it the wrong way. So that's like my struggle when I talk to you and like do other things where I've shared the same things with my audience. It's like I can't hit it home enough.
Did the doctor give you any medicine? I have a nozzly here asking, did you only take zinc? Did they give you anything else? Did they give you the what are the medications that they've been talking, hydrochloroquine and
Great question. So that information was coming out as I was at the end of my virus. I called my Lyme doctor that's in New York. I'm in California right now, and I was dealing with a different doctor here. I called him, filled him in on everything. And I had him send over I think it's called Plaquenil.
Yep, I've heard that one.
Hydro, whatever.
Okay.
And he had that in the Z-Pack scent, but I did not take it because I was basically at the end of the virus. And I was like, you know what? Just send it to me as like a safety net. I have it. I can call you if I need to take it. I'd rather be safe than sorry kind of thing. Because at the beginning, I was at the forefront of this. We didn't know what this looked like for people in the U.S. that much. And then mainly I was juicing ginger and making hot, and lemon and hot tea and lemon and honey and vitamin C and zinc. So I did more than just what he said. I also was looking up other supplements that block did you talk about the ACE2 receptors with the doctor that you spoke with today?
No.
So I'm not a doctor, but apparently every virus likes to lock on to a certain part of your body, and this thing likes the ACE2, allegedly. It likes the ACE2 receptors. So I was taking certain supplements that were supposed to block that, but I would never recommend that. You have to talk to your doctor about that. But if you do feel like you have it, I would just tell people talk to your doctor about what other supplements you can take that are right for you, because some of the things I was taking weren't good for people that have high blood pressure and things like that. So I just don't think it's good to mention them, probably.
Have they talked to you, Valerie, about donating your blood? And have they talked to you that you could possibly get it again? What have they told you when you got your little letter that Valerie graduated from COVID-19?
Man, the letter, it's kind of like crazy to talk about that because it basically says any restrictions that were put on you are now removed. But I only got the restrictions put on me on a Friday.
Wow.
And I got them off on a Monday. The same, 3 days apart. So the health department, even though I was one of the first 100 people in Los Angeles County to be diagnosed with a positive COVID-19 case, they still weren't on top of it. And that's because they were probably buried in other things. But they were supposed to call twice a day and check my temperature and ask what my symptoms were. And then after I had been symptom free for a certain amount of days past my initial first symptom, that's when I was going to graduate to be restriction free and be able to go back into society.
Right.
That just didn't happen, and so it was really delayed. Obviously, I didn't go anywhere. I stayed in place, stayed at home, and I'm still pretty much staying at home. I'm ordering all the groceries and not going out to people like that. But and then there was another part of your question. I'm so sorry. I digressed.
I was looking at some of these comments coming in because people have so many questions. But I was talking about that letter too that you got, and now that you got that, I asked about the blood.
Oh yeah, so they don't give you any of that information. The first information I saw about that was coming out of Mount Sinai in New York City, and I've heard that some of our hospitals are asking about it. I haven't received any information. But what they are doing, I know, is asking for donations of, they take your blood and they turn it into, they just take the plasma out of it, and they check you for antibodies. So if you have the antibody, they're able to put that into other people that would otherwise possibly die of COVID-19 and able to just get their body to fight it quicker. So, I would love, if anybody has information on that, if there's any nurses or anybody that works at a hospital, please DM me. Like I said, I have Lyme, so I have to call my Lyme doctor and ask him what he thinks, because I want to make sure that I'm not giving that to somebody, but I'm all for donating and doing anything I can to help.
Did they say anything to you about you getting it again? Have you followed up with your doctor, or have you had a conversation with them?
Unfortunately, this is the most frustrating part of having coronavirus. That question was met with, I don't know. Pretty much everything else that I've been asking, everything I asked was, I don't know, we just don't know yet, we don't know. So we do know that people in China, approximately 14%, according to one thing that I read, says that people have been reinfected. They weren't sure if it was laying dormant, which I think sounds probably unlikely. Again, I'm not a doctor. Or if these people were being reinfected, and they were saying, well, maybe some of these people didn't get it good enough the first time to be able to build up the antibodies. So I think that's why the antibody test that we're hoping for will be really helpful for us. But again, we don't know. So I'm just afraid of other people as they are afraid of me.
Yeah. And I think
I don't know, I could still be be shedding the virus, or I could be giving people my antibodies if I were to go talk to them. We don't know.
And all this time, social distancing is giving time to our healthcare system to be able to find answers, and our scientists to find answers. Look at how much we've learned in just the past 3 weeks. And 3 weeks from now, as we're still in this social distancing, everybody stay at home, they're learning, so much. Even Dr. Bradley today was talking about it. Now they have tests. They have tests that you can find out if you're positive in less than 5 minutes.
Isn't that crazy?
Right? So
we were my friend and I were discussing maybe they'll get it down to 30 seconds or a minute, and that's going to be how we go to the airport now.
I actually asked him, and I'll tell you the answer when I go live. I said, Dr. Bradley, are the kids going to go back to school in the fall? How are we going to do this? What difference does it make if we're still waiting for a vaccine? And he told me what he thinks may happen come fall.
going to be like a lice check. It's going to be like a COVID. I can't wait to see what you have.
I will tell you what he said. But this is our reality. I mean, it is what it is. We're dealing with it. I appreciate you sharing your story. I have 2 more questions for you, Valerie, before I let you go. First of all, what do you do? Are you a traveler? I was poking around your social media.
Travel expert. I do photography, but I'm a travel blogger, and that's my job. Is full time is to travel.
Oh, I'm so jealous.
And be an expert on all of that stuff. Yeah, it's not happening right now.
No.
But it's normally a dream job.
Well, just imagine when you go back on your next travel. All of us, when you go back, it's going to be.
I can't wait. Honestly, just going outside was just as exciting as going somewhere, actually, which is crazy.
I know. I asked you this today on the morning news, and I'll ask you here. We have people listening on Facebook, Instagram. And by the way, for our new friends who are popped up here and you're asking a bunch of questions, Valerie tested positive for COVID-19 a few weeks ago. She's here sharing her story. She has answered a lot of the questions that you're asking now earlier in the interview. So this is going to be up on YouTube. It's up on my Facebook page. It's going to live up here on Instagram for the next 24 hours. So I encourage you to go back and watch, because she answered your questions. For most of the questions, it's in there. Hold on. Have our contacts been affected in the industry? Do you know anybody else, by the way, that has coronavirus? Anybody?
I do.
You do?
I do. I have a friend, Nomadic Matt. He's like one of the biggest travel bloggers, and we haven't seen each other since January, so we didn't give it to each other. He was in Taiwan and then Paris and then New York, and then went back to Austin and tested positive. So
is he doing okay?
Yes, his story was very similar to mine. We actually found out on the same day, but he was a lot further behind.
Okay.
And he's basically, I think, through it finally as well. Yeah.
Yeah, the handful of people that I know of personally, it was also, I think, from travel.
That's interesting. Yeah. I mean, it's when you're on a plane, as much as I am here to promote travel and the travel industry coming back, and it will come back, when you're on a plane, you're breathing the same air as everybody else.
Look.
So this is an airborne thing.
Valerie, as I'm learning very quickly about viruses, I don't think I will ever let anybody with shoes in my house again. Like, if you come into a party in my house, I'm making you take your shoes off at the front door.
I'm like that as it is. So, like, that's a great excuse. Just tell me I can't wait to hear everything that you've learned about this, so I can be like, I'm like such a germ person. I like wipe down my seat with antibacterial.
Yeah.
I fly like 200,000 miles, 250,000 miles a year. So it's like I'm wiping down the seat. Like I'm like hand sanitizing my whole body, basically. I mean, anytime I'm like touching anything, I'm hand sanitizing. So for me, like, I hear you. And that's what the craziest thing about me getting this is like, I'm already like a germ. Like, so.
But it takes one time. It takes one time. And one time
that you touch your face, one time that you scratch your nose.
And we touch our face a lot more than we think we do.
I know. Even like, it's so funny, even like just doing Instagram stories when I talk to people. They're like, you're touching your face. I'm like, I know, but I haven't left my house in like 3 weeks, so I think I'm okay.
Yeah. You're okay. You're like, I'm good right now for 3 weeks. Okay, before we let you go, Miss Valerie, your advice, I asked you this today on the morning show. Please share it again for anybody who's watching right now. If you're older, if you're younger, if you have any type of underlying health issues, ones you talk about, ones you don't talk about, the big piece of advice you would give to the whole flippin' world right now, who are staying home and some of who are complaining about being at home.
Stay home, man. Stay home. Do your part. We're all going to get through this together. We are all in this together. So if you just stay home, whether, you think you got it, don't have it, don't think you're ever going to get it, the best thing that you can possibly do is stay home. If you're sick, you think you're sick, try not to worry. Don't stress. I'm proof that you can make it out alive. much faster. The faster everybody goes home, the faster we get to the end of this thing. And that means the sooner we get to do all the things that we love. I get to go back to traveling. You get to go back to seeing your loved ones and traveling and playing sports and living a normal life and going to work and seeing your work friends and gossiping about your work friends or like whatever it is that you love to do. You get to do it sooner.
Yes.
And nobody wants to be stuck in the house.
No.
So go home, do your part, and we're all going to get through this together.
Yeah, we are. I don't know. I might not shake anybody's hand for like the next year or so.
I'm going to be like,
I'll be like, hello. But can I tell you the good news from what I've been hearing today, coming down the pipelines, especially what's happening in California, and Dr. Bradley mentioned, sorry, I keep bringing up his name, but I lean on facts. I don't panic. I listen to experts. I listen to people who are trained and not to uncle, auntie, cousin who are just pumping this information around. The social distancing in the state of California, it's working. It's working. So keep doing what you're doing. They're saying it at a federal level. And they're saying it in the state of California. So even I heard them say that even if when we see the numbers, they're going to go up in the next 2 weeks, the social distancing is working. We have to keep doing this because if we didn't, the numbers are going to be up here.
Exactly. And yeah, I think that's a really important point that you just made. The numbers are going to keep doubling for a little while.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that it's not working because they could be very, very much higher.
Yes.
So I think that was a really great point to end on is like, stay home. It is working, and that is really good news. And, you know, eventually we'll take baby steps back to the beach and like back to all those things, hopefully. But yeah, do your part. Stay home. It's not cool to be out. Take your walks by yourself and do your FaceTime or whatever that is.
Zoom. It's my son's first birthday next Friday. I'm doing his first birthday on Zoom. You're invited. I mean, the world's invited, but
let me know. Yeah, send me the email. I'll be there.
I love it. If people want to follow you, do you want to give them your handle name? Are you okay with anybody messaging you if they have questions?
Yeah, everybody's been keeping me occupied. I really appreciate every question I answer. If I don't answer you, it means I accidentally hit delete and like message me again because it's happened, and I've been like, oh, sorry to the person I deleted. You can find me at Trusted Travel Girl on Instagram, which we're on now. On Facebook's Trusted Travel Girl. My website is trustedtravelgirl.com, and I'm on YouTube and all that stuff. You can find all that stuff if you just go to my website. Yeah, thanks for the plug, and hopefully next time I see you and chat with you, I'd love to do this again, but I'd love it to be about travel.
Dude, you need to come down. You need to.
I have this information of what I took, but I can't tell you.
When this is all over and we allow guests back in our studio, which we have no guests in our studio right now, you should come down to San Diego, come sit on our set. And come do a travel segment with us. How about that?
I'll leave everybody with like a tiny little travel tip.
Okay.
We don't know when we're getting back to travel, but the cool thing is flights are so cheap right now. So even if you're looking at like Christmas time, I mean, I was looking at September, and you might even want to go further because, you know, better safe than sorry. But everything right now is it's not refundable that you get your money back, but you do get a credit, 100% credit with the airline. There's no cancellation fees if you're booking right now.
Right.
The airlines are trying to promote people to book future travel.
Oh, so they are.
I'm seeing flights to Italy round trip $400.
No, I'm all over that. I am all over that, and I'm gonna buy even travel insurance and protect myself in that way and books.
For another day.
Right.
I had my appendix taken out in Switzerland, and my insurance paid for everything. We've got so many stories about travel next time I see you.
Okay, I love it. I love it. Valerie, thank you so much for chatting with us. You can find her up on social, and I will tag her. She's actually on my story, so you can go find her screen name if you missed it on that. Take care of yourself.
You too. And what time are we doing this Dr. Bradley thing?
Oh, you're awesome for asking. Thank you. I'm trying to calculate when I put my kids to bed. Let's say around 6:30 tonight.
Awesome.
Around
6:30 tonight. So I will see everybody that's here back on your
Yes. Granted, I won't have any makeup on at that time. As a matter of fact, I'm just going to take off my lashes.
Yeah, girl.
Oh, dude, my eyeballs hurt from having these all day. So I will be getting ready to go to bed, but it's really exciting information. So I want to share it with people.
I'll be tuning in. All right. Thank you.
You're awesome. Thank you, Valerie. Take care. I'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye. All right. That was Valerie. Hello, Facebook. Oh my goodness. I took my eyelashes off. Thank you for hanging with me over this time. That was Valerie Joy Wilson. She tested positive for coronavirus, and she was awesome enough to come and share her story with us. So I am going to go get a little bit of work done, and I am going to come back here probably around 6:30 tonight to share Dr. Bradley's information with you. So I will come here 6:30, back 6:30 tonight-ish, I hope, if my kids allow me. All right, Goldie. Hi, Nicole. Hi, Nicole. Hi, Lisa. This storm will pass. This storm will pass. We'll do it together. We'll do it together. Look how connected we all are. Isn't this great? In the looking at things in the glass half full, we're like all so connected. Okay, I gotta go find my 4 children. I'll see you back here 6:30 tonight. Information about coronavirus, how you actually will get it, and what that means for your kids, and how they're gonna maybe go back to school come fall. I'll tell you.